Excellent. All right, so still on a new internet connection, new microphone. So if you guys could let me know, can you hear me? That would be awesome. Hey Jacob, can you hear me, Jacob? Oh, awesome. Good. I spent tens of dollars on a microphone setup since in some of my other videos, and they seem super crappy. Next might be a real camera too, other than instead of a $20 Logitech cam that I had to get just for when everything shut down and we were forced to do Zoom meetings. Oh, so how was everybody's week? Was it as crappy as mine as far as your account? I was actually super surprised to see that Tesla didn't recover with the S&P, especially the end of the day. I don't even understand what the news was, but I've been pretty tied up with finishing up with work and still finishing up moving. I mean, I moved in, but there's always like 1,000 different things that you have to research and do, and I hate shopping. Everything from like Ring doorbell setups to mattresses to lights, and then I've got some sound problems, so I want to be able to block out some sound. I think with the mic it probably helps, but like in the background for me there's a lot of road noise. But we wanted to purposely move somewhere that was like super easy to find with some good parking and stuff. All right. Well, I didn't have anything absolutely specific I wanted to talk about today. If you guys have anything, I can definitely go through any questions you guys have. Otherwise, I'll probably just go through some of the comments in some of the videos that I did this week and see what kind of questions we have there that we can answer. Yeah, it was. I'm just like super surprised. I saw there was a lot of Tesla call options purchased, like 650-ish, just for this announcement. And then with Friday, it was like Thursday night or Friday or something like that, it got leaked that Tesla might be on target to do 1 million deliveries this year, which is going to put them super ahead of where they were supposed to be or where guidance was. So that's pretty exciting for that. But for some reason, the stock price did not reflect it. It just had like a small recovery with the rest of the S&P, even though the S&P was up, it seemed like all day overall. Had a small but solid green week. I would have taken any kind of green. Actually, I don't know how I ended up for the entire week. Like Friday started out down, and then I was down for the day, but not as bad as earlier, because I think I got at one point I was down like 16,000 and then 8,000 by the end of the day. And oh yeah, terrible week. But and really I didn't have anything to do on Friday. I just keep posting over and over again, even if I don't do anything, just kind of keep that transparency. I don't want to be the guy who just posts every single time I'm up and not when I'm down. Even I think Wednesday or Thursday, I think I started off down 4 or 5, 6 grand or something, and it ended up 5 grand, but didn't post that at the end of the day. In my head, put credit spreads on stock you're going to see up long term, or trading above a certain price will eventually is another strategy. Still trying to wrap my head around the downside. Can you roll till you win? Yeah, absolutely. The difference between like how much you're going to pay, though, that's the only thing is like you can 100% you can roll until you win. And Tastyworks actually did a really good analysis on that, and they figured out like what's the difference between closing at a certain percentage or basically rolling until you win. And the downside to rolling until that you win is you lose the potential gains. Like, you could have closed it at a certain percentage and then used it for other things and taken your gains that way. But I think that was on the S&P, and they back tested it. It's actually just been a really weird thing with Tesla. I mean, I'm super happy I play it, and I still have very high confidence in it, but it's just been an overall market rotation and sell-off. I'm still aligned with like what Kathy says, and it being up to $3,000, in 4 or 5 years. I mean, given that's a long time. And whether or not you have to pay, so if you're rolling them out when they're out of the money, you'll always receive a credit. But depending on how far out they are, if they're in the money, you may have to pay to move them. So like, for example, the ones that I have expiring in just a week or so, if those I want to roll out, because some of those are in the money right now pretty decently, those ones I'm going to have to pay to roll out. Unless I choose to roll them out and up, which is a possibility, because like by the end of the year, I don't see any problem with $700 still. But I'm very, very bullish on it, obviously. Where did my chats go? So the only thing that stinks. So like I have ones that I rolled out that were like 700 level. They were 750s. I rolled them out like basically until the end of the year, and I have 36 of those. So that's $36,000 worth of collateral that I rolled out until the end of the year. So if it takes that long for them to become profitable, I'm fine with that. But the question is, what could you have done instead with that $36,000, like along the way? But if we get like, really good news on deliveries, really good news on earnings, and I'm positive on both of those, then those ones that are rolled out super far, I can bring those back. So I can roll them closer at a higher level and not pay anything to do that. So I'm actually just going to grab some comments here, unless you guys have, like I said, specific questions. Stick that over there. It's always funny seeing, like, when the market's down, so many less people watch stock related stuff. I think a lot of people this last couple weeks, 2-3 weeks or so, they're like, I'm out. Like, I've made my money, or I've lost my money, and I'm out. Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. So are you still planning on transferring everything out of Robinhood to TD Ameritrade and starting a fresh 10K Robinhood account? Yes, I am. And I cannot believe it, because, yeah, if you knew that, you know how long I've been trying to work on that. So on Wednesday, I got the check back in the mail from TD Ameritrade that I had wrote them to open up my new account under the LLC. And I was like, what? Well, I thought and what they say, yeah, they can't deposit it because the account isn't open. So I had been waiting, whatever it is, seems like 6-8 weeks or something ridiculous now, and I've tried to call, and they're like, well, we don't have any information. That was a couple weeks ago, so I thought everything just got lost. And what had happened is there was one section that wasn't filled out and one section that isn't signed, that I needed to sign that I didn't think I had to. So I was like, well, crap. Now I have another 8 weeks for me to put the stuff down and mail it in, and them doing it. So what I found out was totally my misunderstanding. So I'm super glad you brought that up. So yes, all the LLC paperwork has to be, they call it wet ink signed, as opposed to just like a electronic signature. But once you actually sign it with wet ink, you can scan. So they told me, they gave me like just a list of stuff to do. I can basically sign the couple things I need to, and then just send it in, I guess, through the message center. And then so I'll be able to do that. So that should be actually open up this week, and then I can do the transfer. So yeah, it's been super frustrating because I want to have the stuff in there so I can, just for the tax purposes. And then I can start out with a small amount in my Robinhood, which will feel super awesome. And actually, I've used the TD platform, the mobile platform. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's with I don't think the options purchasing is quite as clean, but it's doable. But I'll just do like a 10K in Robinhood or so. Hopefully now, like, everything's dipped down, and then I get to play it all on the way back up again, and then it looks super cool. Turn 10,000 into 100,000 or something again. Because right now I'm playing the $100,000 to $10,000 challenge, and it's not cool. Is there a resource to easily see which stocks have weeklies along with their share price? Not sure. Like, you mean which ones have weekly options? I mean, most of I don't know if there's an actual, like, just a list of them. Most ones with decent volatility, and normally you're going to want to trade something with decent volatility. They're going to have them. So if it's a name that you know that didn't just IPO, I mean, that's going to be the difference. Like, if something just comes out and it IPOs, there's just not enough shares that people own to be able to create the option contracts. So other than those, like, most every name that you know is going to have the weeklies available, even if they're not very far out. And if there's something that doesn't have weeklies, you're probably not going to want to. They're probably going to be more of a long-term trade, I would assume. Like, you're looking at it to buy a long-term call. Is there a specific play or something that you're looking at trying to do with that information? How do I feel about in the money debit spreads? I like them. I have actually I have one that I bought, and now it's out of the money. So I think I actually bought the 640 650s on my Robinhood when it was like around 700 or so. So I have a few of those, and now they're out of the money. But now at least I can roll them if I want to. So I like, and I like all the tools, because there's always a right time, and like, it's just having a full toolbox. I don't think you can always get away with just one thing. Depends on what you're trying to accomplish with the options. I mean, but there's so many, like, just getting a combination of them. If you just Google, like, list of option strategies or something like that, I mean, let's see, we could probably look it up too. Maybe it heard me say that. That was crazy, because I think as soon as I typed list, it just, I mean, let's see. And what usually comes up is probably just going to be somewhat basic, but I mean, just the fact that there's that many with a pair, like between 1 and 4 legs, and there's a lot more than that. What stocks do I feel are the safest for put credit spreads? AT&T. I think iron condors you could do all day long on AT&T, but of course, your risk to reward ratio is going to be inverse. So I have a couple iron condors on AT&T, but for 2 weeks I collected $11, which I guess is, or maybe it was like 4 weeks or something like that. Just something that doesn't move a lot. And really the best time, like technically, to be able to do any kind of like put credit spreads is in a low volatility market. Yeah, we collect a lot more premium in a high volatility environment, but you also have the downside, right? I've been a perfect example of that. But AT&T and any ETF are going to be way safer, since it's a basket of stocks and you're not just relying on the movement of one stock that could, who knows what it does. But again, you're not going to collect a whole lot for playing those necessarily. So it becomes a little bit more difficult for me to justify, because you're putting $100 at risk and just collecting like $3 or something very, very little, or $5 or something like that. So it's just a risk to reward for me, and that's why I keep playing these Tesla credit spreads, because I'm fairly confident. I do have very high confidence that it's going back up, and I've been playing it very risky over these last few weeks just because I do want to take advantage of the upside. There was a phone call. So I don't know if you guys all follow Tesla, but I follow it ridiculously close. So there was a company-wide phone call from Elon, and I think that was Wednesday or Thursday, and there was several things leaked from that call. And there was there was going to be a subscription service. So right now it's either you purchase full self-driving or you don't. But there's going to be an option in about 6 weeks for people to basically, I don't know what it's going to be, $20 a month or $40 a month. You can get full self-driving or the autopilot features, which is another big catalyst for me. Not the fact that they're offering the option, but the full self-driving must be getting to a point to where somebody would opt in for it. So that's pretty huge. There was the $1 million target for this year, which is super, super up from what it was supposed to be. And then I believe also their supercharger networks, they're going to allow other cars to supercharge or use that network with some sort of subscription service as well. So they're basically sharing that, which is really good for other people. And it's very, very seldom where I see those super busy. And actually all the other ones I never see busy at all. So those are, I think, the three main leaks that just happened. And it was Friday afternoon before people actually started posting real stuff about it. Oh, you want to see which ones have weeklies for wheeling? Mainly so I can compare the ratios, collateral to premium. Yeah. It's just all going to be all the premium is going to be opposite of the risk. If you find something that's very volatile, you're going to get a lot of premium. If you find something that doesn't move a lot, you're not going to get very much premium. So the hardest, and I think I talked about this earlier this week or last week, the biggest problem I always have with the wheel is finding stocks that I don't care about selling. Most of the ones that I own, and which that's the place I want to be. I want everything in my portfolio, stocks that I would love to hold, and I just like the company. It doesn't bother me if they go down to half. I still want to buy more, and I can hold them for years and years. But I also, a lot of them I see a big upside on, so I don't want to sell it and then the thing just keeps rocketing up, right? If I hadn't bought Tesla before pre-split, which is now equivalent to $200, I didn't get another chance at that. I mean, unless it drops to, it's got to drop like another 60%. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I mean, if it does, I'm super loading up on it. But if you wanted super safe, it's ETF, like Q's the SPY, or like I say, AT&T. You could sell the 27s like all day long. If you look at how long that's been, I mean, that's just like what a year. Our high, we just like peaked out at 33 for, I mean, that wasn't very much, and 26. So it's like such a narrow price for that. But it's been hanging out for the most part, you know, 30, between like 31 and 28. Laser and Palantir have been stocks I don't care to get married to, but we'll okay. I'm super married to Palantir now. Laser, yeah, I could give that up, because that's like a who knows if it's going to work kind of situation. Palantir, I've been watching like hours and hours and hours of interviews, and just tons, and reading a bunch of information about Palantir. That's got to be my second favorite stock right now. Not right now, but for like 2023, I would like to own. My goal is 1,000 shares, I think, before I quit buying it. But I have that on auto buy. Everybody has their opinions for sure, but that one, check back with me. Check back with me 2025, and let's see where Palantir is. I think they're going to be huge. I mean, they have their customers like the U.S. government, so that's pretty solid. And the more everything is integrated with it, the more they're going to be reliant, and the more that they can charge. I've also, like, in some of the stuff I've read, I've never used any of their software, but I've read comments from people in other videos, and they're like, you know, people in the military is like, Palantir is absolutely like mission critical for what they're doing. They're not upsetting at all to get assigned. You mean, like when you're selling the put? Yeah, I just don't want to get my shares called away. I'm selling. I do have some calls sold on Palantir, but they're at 37, and I don't remember where it closed. It's probably pretty low, 22, 24, something like that. 22, yep. And I think I have $36 to $37 calls sold on those. Like, I don't want to risk it. It's like when I sell calls on my Tesla shares, like selling them up at 900 or 1,000, and those are scary. I had actually sold some $1,000 Tesla calls, and they started. It was when it was still up at 800 and some, and they started going up like thousands of dollars. That scared me too much. I paid I paid to get rid of those. I wish I wouldn't have, obviously. You got assigned on to this week. Oh, Palantir. Did you follow Logan was doing those, right? He had sold the puts on those on Palantir. Yeah. The thing is, I don't mind getting assigned selling the puts. I just don't want to sell the calls and get rid of them. That's all. And you know, there's been a lot of negative stuff coming out about them too, just like with their value, but I don't really care. I think they're going to be giant. There was actually like one of the first articles that I had read on, you know, you get your Google things just automatically selected for you what kind of stories you're interested in, and like the first one was like, don't buy Palantir. This is why it's going down. It's basically like worth $13 or something like that at this point. But I didn't buy it to sell it this year either, so that's fine. It can go down to 13 and we'll just buy more. Whoa. was gonna grab my studio. Let me see what kind of questions we had this week. See if there's some basic stuff. Probably stuff you guys all know. But I kind of forget, like, as I start making some videos and I like run things through super quickly, like opening and closing things, that it's just like, if you're the first time watching it or even a couple times, you don't necessarily follow along. Or even like when I'm going through, hey, here's what I'm holding in my portfolio right now, and I'm just like, oh, these are calls I sold on this and this and this and this. Well, if you don't know, like a poor man's covered call is, or stock covered call, it probably really doesn't make sense too much. So let's see. Cool. First comment is spam. Let's report. I get all those weird, I don't even know what they are, those comments that are like, they call it like a timestamp and then a random vom.wtf. Spam. Thanks for the video. I have some spreads expiring 4/16 that I'm nervous about, but didn't realize production numbers came out on April 2nd and earnings the end of April. Yeah, and I don't know if the April 2nd is in stone. It's just usually like right after a day or two, as far as their production numbers. And I don't know if this quarter's production / delivery numbers are going to reflect what they expect for the whole year, or if that's just things in Giga Berlin and Shanghai are going so well that that's what they're looking at now. I hope they did a little bit more. Plus this first quarter they had to shut down for the retooling of the S and X. Do you roll out credit spreads at break even or wait a couple days till expiration to decide? Well, that's changed over the last month for me, what I've been doing. So previously I was rolling them out like super far ahead of time. So, but it was basically when anything and everything was going up. Right now I have some that are expiring, like next week and the week after, that are in the money. So ideally I would have rolled them out way prior, but since I know that there's upcoming news, and these are ones on Tesla because those are the only ones that I have open, those I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for, number one, I feel like it was pretty oversold the last few days. I feel like it's oversold in general. And secondly, with delivery numbers coming out and earnings coming out, I think those are a couple more catalysts. I know Kathy Wood's prediction came out too, which was a really temporary bump, and then we kind of were running that against all the bond rates going up at the same time. So kind of a fight there. Looks like Tesla price kind of lost there. But we still have, we have Tesla semis coming out, Tesla truck, Cybertruck coming out, and just a huge improvement with the full self-driving too. That new version should be coming out in a few weeks or so. Child's predictions. If I open up a $500 credit spread, do I get $500 premium immediately? No, you get that's the collateral, the $500 collateral you get taken out of your account, and then you just get the premium put in your account, and that's the only thing that you have. Collateral is held aside, premium goes to your account. So on a $500 spread, maybe you'll get $100. That $100 you can do whatever you want. You could open up a $100 spread if you wanted to. Wish you had your quick navigation skills on Robinhood. No, you don't. That just means I mess with it way too much all day, every day. When do I buy to close? I do buy out to close every once in a while. And it's just like when I see, if I had a credit spread open, and it's $1,000 credit spread and I only have $10 left in it, I'll close it then. It's just when I have very little left, and and I'm not in a position to where I want to just roll it over and open up another one immediately, and I want to maybe conserve some capital. And I do the same thing with the call credit spreads, because I have a few of those on now too, but I don't like them because I'm more scared to the upside than the downside. So those guys I'll close out too at about 75. Those I've been closing out at 75% profit on most of those. Have I messed with calendar spreads? No. I haven't yet. I don't know that I will. I probably will at some point, but it's just like a whole nother thing to learn, which is super cool about stock trading, is there's so many different things you can do. Like, I think that would be a great one if you decide to become an expert in it, but you're going to want to know exactly how to manage it once you get into it. I mean, the opening of it is pretty straightforward, but it's the management always that gets people in trouble, I think, more than anything. I mean, it's like wide iron condors too. Those are pretty awesome. Those it's super hard to lose on those, or lose much, but they do take management. And I think same thing with calendar spreads. I think there's some pretty important management that goes into those. And if things go against you, you need to know exactly what to do. And I saw he was showing like some doubles and triples. My gosh, sorry guys, my nose is just itching today. I hope it's not COVID. But yeah, I probably will at some point. I started watching a couple of those, but I really want to wrap my mind around it 100%, do some simulations with it before I start messing with them, and also see if that's what I want to do. The complication sucks. But I mean, if it's complicated because it's worth it, then fantastic. Leg moving is where my smooth brain overheated. Yeah, that's the thing, is you have to be super confident in, and like, if you need to react, and I don't know what the reaction looks like on those two. Like, okay, so it moves against you, and what does moving against you look like, and how, because it's like put credit spreads, they can move against you for sure, but it's like, it depends how far and how fast it's happening. They can move against you slowly and they're still winners, but if they move quickly, and depending on what you know about the underlying, you may or may not need to make a quick move. And I don't know if calendar spreads are exactly the same or not. Like, do you need to be able to react and move a leg, or are you working 8 hours a day and cannot move a leg correctly? Can you do it on your phone? I don't even know how many legs do they typically have. Is it? I think a normal calendar spread just has 2, and then those doubles, do they have 3 or 4, like a double calendar spread? I would assume they would have 4, because are you buying 2 and then selling 2 against it? 4 on the double? Okay, so you're buying 2 and then selling 2 shorter. And then the 2 on the double that you sell, are those on 2 different dates? Yeah, I see the tent. I've seen the drawing. So the 2 that you're selling though, are those on 2 different dates? Because you're buying the ones that are far dated, and then and then you have 2 shorter ones. And then do you close it out? Do you close out a set at a time? And what is the typical probability of those guys too? I don't know. There's a lot of questions for me. I mean, at the end of the day, they probably are simple once you wrap your mind 100% around it. But until you do, pretty difficult. Maybe I should give those a shot. I should probably, and then just play with something like, I'll play with something like AT&T that doesn't move very much. Then my debit won't be very much at all. Rob, I would think it would be three different dates, because I think the two that you buy are probably at one date far out, and then the two other ones that you're selling maybe are two sooner dates. I could probably Google it though. Oops. Of course, Tasty Trade. All right. So. Oh, they don't even. Okay, May, July. Okay. Yeah, and I know you can do them. I think it's front week by the week behind. I'll do a put and call. Collect it on the right. Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna try to learn it. Try to learn it right here. I feel like it's like one of those things. If you watch the video once, you have to watch it 5 times until it all makes sense to you, and then hopefully, like even before that, all the super basics are making sense, because I started looking at some of that stuff in the very beginning, and then if you don't have a very, very solid foundation on just calls and puts, which seem very simple but can get a little bit more complicated, then simply, I want the price to go up, so I'll buy a call, which kind of is the overall thought, but not exactly how it works. When do I start to worry on a credit spread? When do I start to worry? when the price is just sinking. So I don't know. Most of them, I try to keep myself out of the worry for the most part. Like this last month, there's definitely been some. Quite a bit of it where I was just like rolling it out, and I don't think I was worried so much as just I was getting fatigued on seeing day after day of -10, -20, just down with the stock. But it's got to be pretty close, because most of them I'm not keeping a put credit spread at $800 for next week or anything like that. I've always rolled those out. So the only thing that I'm keeping very near term is stuff that I think has a pretty good chance of recovering. Like if the market opens up on Monday and Tesla drops to 550, I'll be worried on everything that I own. But I still hold some for like 2 weeks out that are, I think they're at 680. I could probably check instead of guessing. But those I'm not as worried about, just because I know like all the earnings are coming out. Let me see. Yeah, it was up $350 after hours, so that's a pretty big deal. Let me see. So I hate the desktop version. I always say that every single time I open this up. So I only have one expiring next week, which is 590. Not worried about that. Following week, I have 550s. Not worried about that. 600, 650. So 650, which is in the money right now, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried just because numbers and stuff are coming out. And I feel like since we had so much downward craziness and things settled out with the S&P, that we should start to see some upside. Definitely could be wrong about that. And then we have So 640s. I guess like it's hard to worry. It's hard for me to really worry about Tesla too, just because I know these catalysts are coming, and I know we saw last week where it'll have $100 upside on a day, and there's no real point in worrying. I mean, there's just like take the action, do what I think needs to be done, and that's that. And however it plays out, it plays out. I'm still, even though this last month or so has been pretty bad, I still own in this account a couple hundred shares of Tesla. Super happy about that. So that's my 2024. Like, everything's all good. I feel like by the end of the year, everything's up, and just been lucky and blessed to have this much money in there in the first place to be able to even come down this much. I mean, even though it's half of what it was a few months ago, like overall it's still a $600 made 180,000, 200,000, so can't really complain about that too much. Yeah, I don't even see anything I'm worried about. I just basically anything that kind of is suspect to me, I'll just like roll it way out to where like I'm not worried about Tesla hitting 700 again by the end of the year at all. So no point in worrying, I don't think. I am worried about this AMD call though, about a $95 call. But that's naked calls are kind of gambling. All my leaps seem to be doing pretty well though. See what else we have. If we have anything else to talk about, otherwise I get to call it a short day, which would be super cool. I mean, this is kind of my break from actually like moving stuff back and forth and going through stuff. The thing about moving, you find out how much stuff that you have that you don't need. You're sweating about being down 10% since December. Yeah, the whole market's pretty down since December though, so being down 10% is kind of like being even. Yeah, Rob, if you haven't seen it, I mean, here's where I was. You can see it. I mean, you can always go back and see. Like February when everything was super high, Tesla was at 880 or something. I was at 262. So now we're basically like half of what I was as far as money in the account. I mean, I started this account, in case you don't know. So I started out with $575 in this account. Made some really nice plays in the beginning, and those were just basically like when the market was falling, I bought a bunch of puts on. It didn't matter what you bought. It's kind of like from when the market crashed, you could have bought anything and looked like a genius up until everything kind of came down. And then so it was right April, May, I was trading sideways, and that's when I found out I really like put credit spreads, and that's what brought me up. And yeah, after like ever since Tesla's been coming down, I mean my account probably looks like Tesla to some degree with it. Actually, it does. Oh my gosh! Like if you look at this right here, that's hilarious. I recognize this. Let's look at Tesla. That's funny. Let's look at their yearly chart. Look at that. It's the exact same thing right here. This is where it consolidated before it popped. Oh my god. That looks like a mirror image of my account, which means I'm way too Tesla heavy. But that's fine. I'm happy with being Tesla heavy. So anyhow, I started playing that on the way up, and then once I dropped like a certain amount, and it was probably this big drop here, I was like, hey, let's kind of like rethink things a little bit, and closed out a bunch of positions, and then I rethought my rethinking, and I was like, you know what, this strategy is what got me basically from let's see what we're sitting at. Let's go back. 15,000. So from 15,000 to, I mean, it got me up here, but I'm still, 10x that amount or so. So I wanted to still be aggressive with it, and that's why I'm pretty much holding steady. And even if you look at same dip that happened, from 95,000, I have my account there. Look at that. 94,000 down to 24,000. I could have quit there. I could have definitely walked away and said, screw it, I'm done. Even after it's kind of settled out, I could have been done there. Okay, got some of my money back and just walked away from using my strategy anymore, but I didn't. That's what brought me all the way up here. And obviously still playing the same strategies brought me back down. And I mean, you'll see, we'll see together. I'm not okay, you're gonna watch my account come way up here. That is my theory. I think it'll be closer to the end of the year before I start breaking my all-time highs again. I think it'll be September, maybe September, October, but that's what I think. We'll see. But that's why I show you guys what I do all the time, every day. It's not, don't copy everything I do or anything like that. This is a strategy that I'm using. I put it out there. There's a lot of basic questions I can answer and help you guys with, and hope you guys learn something from that. But that's where I'm pretty solid. I'll believe by the end of the year we're right back up there and continuing up. I'm down all time because of how my Tesla spreads. Started them when it was in the high 700s. Thought I bought the dip and kept dipping. I know, right? That's what I always look at too. I see it. Oh, okay, it's down $20. Let me open up another one. This is super safe way down here. Yeah. I mean, I thought I was buying the dip just under $800. That was crazy. The day they bought into Bitcoin, I was super excited. I was pumped. I was like, man, let me get a few more shares, and then it dipped down. But then I just rounded out my. I got this one up to 200 shares. But I mean, it's definitely an overall market thing right now. I saw some fluctuation, but assumed you were pulling out large sums, like buying the Tesla. Oh, nope. I've pulled out 50,000, and when it did turn down, I think I pulled out another 5 or 10,000. I can't remember yet. But it's definitely not mostly pulled out. Most of this from that all-time high, most of it is just account losses. But also, so what do I have? I've got a lot of it is just the Tesla shares, right? So what's Tesla at? It was at 880, and now it's at 620. So what's that's a $260 difference? So $50,000 is just in Tesla value right there. That's it. So Tesla goes back up to where it is, and I don't really care about the value of these shares. I just want to own them, and I care more about 2023, 2024, 2025 than I do right now this week. So that's, that'll be 180, 190 right there. Just with the shares alone. Any good stocks to sell covered calls on with a $2,000 portfolio? What do you have to find under $20 stock? What would I do under $20? I don't know. You'd have to buy 200 shares of something. I don't know. Something that you want to own. Find something under $20 that you like, the company you want to own, and you know it. I don't know any off the top of my head that I really like. In my opinion, Tesla will be stuck in the range for a while now, between $500 and $900. In that case, an iron condor is a good idea. Do you agree? Yeah, if that is your thesis, then iron condor would be correct. I actually have, don't I have an iron condor? I have like one on Tesla. I do. Look at that. 500, 870. Expiring 423. One of them. Yeah, a 900 should be super, super, super safe. It's just like with the comments recently, I just always, like I said, I get scared more to the upside than the downside with Tesla. Are under 20. What are under 20? What's the most popular? Let me see if I like anything under 20. I'm just Ibrahim asked about a good stock to sell a covered call on. And if you're looking for a covered call, that means you have to buy the shares. And with the $2,000, you need to find something under 20 bucks. Fubo, BlackBerry. But are those things that he's going to want to own? I want to see if there's any I like. Holy crap, GoPro's back up to 11 something. For some reason, I think Ford would not be a terrible choice. And Workhorse got pummeled. Not Nikola. Fubo is now 22.65. I think I own some Fubo in my long term. Oh, and it's down. It was down $4. I think he's looking. Oh. Do covered calls using leaps is a good idea. Yeah, if you want to do that, that would be a poor man's covered call. What is CLF? Cleveland Cliffs? I have no idea what this is. An ore mining company? They have options too. They do have options. I don't know anything about CLF. Okay. I know US Steel. I just never heard of Cleveland Cliffs. I just got into put credit spreads from you. Thanks. Question: if I'm down on a spread $20, if I sell, do I keep my credit minus $20? Do I lose the credit on top of the $20? Okay, so if you're down $20 to close the spread, you're going to buy it back. So you get your collateral back. You're basically, your overall trade is going to cost you $20 for that entire trade. So depending on, like, if you had $100 collateral and you received $20, now it's going to cost you maybe $40 to close it. So that means you're minus $20, but you get your original collateral back. So whatever Robinhood shows, so let's say here's like when I'm minus $122 on the 590, 580. So let's look at when I open this, I got $1.20 or $120, and I handed them $1,000 collateral. So this one right now, because the value is $242, I would have to, the credit I received, the cash that they gave me was $120. So I'm going to have to pay $242. So that's that negative 122. So I have to give back my collateral, or give back my premium plus $122. So pay $242 total, but I get my $1,000 collateral back. So if you had $195 credit and you're down $20, that means you're going to have to pay $215, but you get your collateral back, and then you're done. So it's just a $20 losing trade at that point. Why is Cleveland Cliffs on the radar? Is that a popular one right now or something? Just curious. Should I be knowing this one? What? April? I had a share of this? Why did I have a share of this? Like, I had one share at $3.99. Oh my god. I wonder if I got it like as a free stock or something. I must have. Yeah, because I only had a market sell. I sold it for $4. April 1st, 2020. Must have been like one of those free ones, like you got Plug Power or something like that. That was like one of my free stocks, and I sold it for like $2 or $3, since they usually give you all those super cheap stocks for your free ones. Man, I could have had $16. The funny thing is, I think I got Plug Power as one of my free ones, and I was like, well, I should own 100 shares if I'm gonna buy this, and so I bought like 99 more. And then I just was like, why do I own this? This isn't something I want to own. And I sold them all, for whatever they were, $2-3. And now Plug is super expensive. Oh, that's the first one Robinhood gave you. Yeah. It's under $20, has weeklies, but it's under $20. Has weeklies and something to be a little bullish on with infrastructure spending. Oh, like our current administration's plan to put money in infrastructure. It's pretty decent size, huh? And a 0.4 dividend. Yeah, that sucks. So funny because like a year ago literally you could buy anything, and now half of them are worth like 10x or more, especially all the speculative ones. How is US Steel doing? Do they kind of What is US Steel's ticker? Is it like US? United, oh, it's X. Oh, so they're pretty much similar then. This is the one, like, Kramer usually pumps US Steel every now and again, right? Where's my... Oh. I need to go over here. See if there's anything else from the week I need to answer, anything specific. I don't even have a good plan for next week. Next week I have like nothing expiring except for one thing, so it's kind of a sit and wait for Tesla's production numbers to come out. We don't have a whole lot of rolling out to do. The only thing I did is roll out all my covered calls a week. Pretty boring, honestly. But now that I'm actually in my new place, I think I'll have more time to do some real videos more than just from the phone. I want to do some pretty in-depth due diligence on. I want to do Rolls-Royce kind of for fun, but Palantir too. I'd like some more people to understand what Palantir really is about, even though it is insanely difficult to explain. Palantir, on their YouTube site, they have like Palantir 101. I thought it was going to be a basic comprehensible explanation of what they do, and after watching it, I was like, I'm more confused than what I originally knew about it. It was I was like, what in the world is this company? And I've heard other people explain it, and I was like, okay, I think I have a pretty fundamental understanding, right? They're just like doing stuff with data. But so it took me like hours and hours and hours of watching like their actual case studies and actual applications to understand how important that they were. And they work with some fantastic things. I get kind of like goosebumpy a little bit when I start thinking about like when people do all these super selfless acts and just cool things. Like they put a lot of effort and time into like finding missing children and like abused and exploited kids and sex traffickers and all these things, and that's a lot of stuff that they donate a lot of their time to, or helping out with like relief after hurricanes and stuff. And they can implement things so fast and so effectively. It's just amazing. It's really, really cool. And I only like, from my initial thoughts about it was just like, what are the commercial applications and things like that. So they can obviously do cool things commercially, but then they can take this data and I really recommend just watch a few of their videos. It's really cool because they have like missing kids, right? So they only have so many people to be able to take phone calls and start up all these cases, and they didn't even have a real good way of linking everything together until Palantir came, and it would sift through all the data, and basically it could connect things that they wouldn't be able to on whatever their 25 people were able to take care of. So they were able to link, like emails, phone numbers, areas, addresses, and the really, really neat thing is from that data and what they're able to do now, they're able to like get a call or get data in and go like rescue kids in hours instead of like weeks or whatever else it would take. It's really cool. Do I reinvest the premium I collect into the stock, or do you use it to compound and set up more put credit spreads? Yes, both. I've bought stock with it, so all 200 shares of my Tesla I've bought with the premium. Actually, almost everything that you see in my portfolio now I've bought with the premium. I've taken out $50-some thousand to put in my pocket and made more credit spreads too. So like totally all of the above. So and in hindsight, I would have taken more out in cash or just put it aside, because the only like real regret that I don't regret anything that I've like lost on or had to move or the downturn at all. I don't feel bad about any of that. The only thing I wish I would have done differently is put more aside to open up more put credit spreads when it is down like it is now. That's the only thing I would have changed. But then if you're still trying to hold on to cash, I don't know at one point, like we were talking about earlier, like you think you buy the dip and then it dips more, you think you buy the dip, it dips more, and at what point do you stop? And then when it's going up and up and up, you want to have your money working for you. So at what point do you not have it deployed? That's the only thing from this whole past year that I regret at all, is just not having like a little bit more cash, like keeping 20, maybe 10-20% cash. It's hard to say, because at the same time, if I had not deployed my capital so readily, I would not have made as much as I have. But then when you see everything go down, you just want to open up more put credit spreads, or at least I do. What was I looking at before this? Oh, I think we were just talking about Palantir. that was about it. And how awesome I think it is. Palantir and Tesla, my now 2 favorite companies. Maybe SpaceX too, but that one's not public yet. Well, unless anybody has anything else, I think I'm going to take off, get going for the day. Thank you guys so much, everybody who lasted this long. Super awesome. Thank you for the questions. Thanks for showing up. Love all you guys. Hopefully next week we have a nice green week. We should, like, if the S&P and if the futures are any indication, we should have an awesome week. But hey, never know. All right, guys, let's end it here, and let's make a lot of money next week.